So, what if an entire nation decided to just reboot its food system? I'm not talking about a small project, but one of the most ambitious agricultural shifts happening anywhere on the planet. You see, for decades, India's Green Revolution was a huge success. It fed millions. But, well, it came at a cost. Degraded soil, farmers going into debt for expensive chemicals, and a whole system that just got hooked on synthetic stuff. Now, India's making this massive pivot away from all that, trying to get back to a more natural, sustainable future.
It's a huge question, right? For so long, modern agriculture has been all about adding more from the outside, more fertilizer, more pesticides. But what if there was another way? A method that could actually restore the land while it feeds people, turning farms back into the thriving ecosystems they're supposed to be.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. The solution isn't some brand new high-tech gadget or a Silicon Valley invention. Nope. Instead, India is betting billions on ancient wisdom. We're talking traditional knowledge, but supercharged for the 21st century to fundamentally change how it grows its food.
Okay, so to really understand this massive national mission, we first need to get a handle on the core concept. What exactly is this back-to-roots idea all about?
At the heart of it all is something called natural farming. Now, the key thing here is that it's more than just organic. It's a whole system. It's about looking at a farm not as a factory, but as a living ecosystem, where the animals, the crops, and all the tiny microbes in the soil are working together in harmony.
Just think about the fundamental difference here for a second. Conventional farming is constantly adding things from the outside, chemical pesticides, synthetic fertilizers. Natural farming turns that whole model on its head. It's all about building fertility from within, using what's already on the farm to create a healthy, self-sustaining system.
An idea is one thing, but how in the world do you convince millions of farmers to change the way they've been working for decades? Well, that's where the government steps in with a huge, structured plan to take this from just a concept to a national reality. And this is the official vehicle for that change, the National Mission on Natural Farming, or NMNF for short. It was launched in late 2024, and its goals are pretty ambitious and direct. Make farming more sustainable, help farms stand up to things like droughts and floods, and ultimately produce safer food for everyone.
And this mission didn't just appear out of thin air. It's really the result of almost a decade of trial and error. You can see a clear evolution. It all started with promoting general organic farming, which then led to a more specific natural farming scheme. And now, it's culminated in this full-fledged, standalone mission. They've definitely been building towards this for years.
To really get a sense of the sheer scale of this commitment, all you have to do is follow the money. We're talking about the Indian government putting up nearly 2,500 crore rupees. That's about $300 million just to get this mission off the ground.
Then there's the land. The initial target is to convert 750,000 hectares over to natural farming. Just to put that into perspective for you, that's an area larger than the entire U.S. state of Delaware.
And finally, maybe the most important number of all, the people. The mission is aiming to bring 1 crore, that's 10 million individual farmers on board. So this isn't just about land or money, it's a massive human undertaking.
So, with all that money and all that ambition, how does this actually work for a farmer on the ground? How does this grand policy translate into actual practice out in the field?
Well, the whole system is designed to be community-based. Farmers don't have to go it alone. They join a cluster with their neighbors. Then they get easy access to natural materials from a local center, and, this is key, they get personal guidance from a trained community expert. It's a really supportive structure. And that support system is incredibly extensive. The plan is to build 10,000 of these local resource centers. They've already trained over 70,000 Krishi Sakhis, which literally translates to farm friends, to provide that crucial last-mile guidance. And on top of all of that, there's even a direct financial incentive to help farmers make the switch.
To make this a bit more concrete, here's one of the key techniques they teach. It's called Bijam root. It's basically an ancient, super low-cost recipe that uses simple, local ingredients to treat seeds. It protects them and helps them germinate naturally. This is exactly the kind of practical, traditional knowledge that's being revived and shared.
Okay, so that's the plan. But is it actually working? The mission's been running since late 2024, so we do have some early data. Let's take a look at the progress report. So even before the big national mission kicked off, several states were already pioneers in this.
States like Andhra Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh, they developed their own successful models, which essentially provided a blueprint for the national scheme. They proved this thing could actually work at scale.
And here's a quick snapshot of the progress just months after the national launch. Already, over 1 million farmers have enrolled. More than 1,000 demonstration farms are up and running, and hundreds of training institutions are involved. You can see the groundwork is being laid at an incredible pace.
Let's focus on one key piece of the infrastructure here, those local bio-input resource centers. The ultimate goal is to have 10,000 of them. Right now, over 2,000 are already established. So that shows some really strong early momentum, but it also highlights just how much work is still ahead.
You know, this mission is about so much more than just changing practices on individual farms. It's really about building an entire ecosystem to support a new kind of agriculture for the long haul. Let's zoom out a bit and look at that bigger picture.
What makes this mission so powerful is how integrated it is. The NMNF isn't just operating in its own little bubble. It's designed to connect with other government programs, everything from rural development to food processing. It's also being woven right into the education system with new university courses. And critically, they're creating a national brand so that when you're shopping, you can easily identify and trust these products.
This quote from the mission's own documents really sums up the ambition. It's not just about being green. The goal is to create a system that works for the environment, works for the farmer's wallet, and works for the entire community. It's a three-pronged vision for success.
And all of this leaves us with a final massive question. India is running one of the biggest agricultural experiments in modern history, blending this ancient wisdom with modern policy. If this works, if they can really pull this off at scale, could this become the blueprint for sustainable agriculture everywhere else? The world is definitely watching to find out.